Hello, my name is Thomas Gallagher, and I am a criminology major at Morehead State University. My major research topic is over assisted suicide and euthanasia. Assisted suicide and euthanasia are different, but they have very similar definitions. Assisted suicide is when a patient is suffering from a terminal illness and the physician then gives the patient a syringe or some other device that the patient uses to terminate their own life. Euthanasia, however, is when the patient is unresponsive and the physician, with consent from the family or some other source, terminates the patient. I was originally interested because of a post on a meme site that talked about Canada forcing journalists into a machine that killed them, and then they labeled it as assisted suicide. I wanted to see what this actually meant and if it was true. This turned out to be false, but it is what got me interested in the first place. For the writing projects, I used about 5 to 6 sources. My sources had stances on whether assisted suicide should be legalized, and there were arguments on both sides back and forth of this debate. On the side promoting assisted suicide is Dr. Charles McCon, who wrote the book A Time to Die and is a specialist in cancer surgery. The book itself describes his personal experiences with people who were on the verge of death and how assisted suicide should be seen as an act of mercy rather than a suicide. On the other side is Kathleen Foley and Hendon Herbert, who wrote The Case Against Assisted Suicide for the Right to End of Life Care. Kathleen is a neurologist and an attending physician on the Pain and Palliative Care Service at Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center. Herbert is the medical director of the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. The book goes into detail about how the effort for assisted suicide should be spent making the patient's lives actually livable without constant pain, because then they'd be less likely to choose assisted suicide. The most shocking thing I learned while conducting the research was that in Denmark, 60% of assisted suicide cases, roughly, were unreported, which is pretty concerning. This particular topic is hard to really get a personal benefit from, but if I had to pick something, I would say my research topic helped me get a better grasp on assisted suicide and euthanasia, as well as the medical procedures that are implemented around the world. Or if I were to develop a terminal illness in the future, then I would have a better understanding of the procedures that go on with it. The most challenging part of researching for me was the lack of current sources regarding assisted suicide, since most of them were made around the 2000s when the debate sparked and was more relevant. But thankfully, the library database has enough sources to pick ones that are still relevant today. If I were to redo this project, I would probably pick a more fun topic that I enjoy, and I would also have made it to both project review sessions. Thank you for your time.